I was rejected from UC Berkeley when I was a senior in high school. And when I got rejected, it hurt a lot to me because I was mostly trying to do it for my dad. And he really wanted me to go. I had a bunch of pressure put on me from him telling me things like I would be the fourth or fifth generation in my family to go to Cal and, do all that stuff. And so it really kind of just made me feel like if I can't do this, I'm a failure. And it it really put a lot of pressure on me. And I don't think that was healthy. I don't think that was good. And if I'm ever a parent, I would never do that to my kid, because I think a lot of life is about finding your own path and finding what works for you. And, I think that's a very personal journey that, I think you can have a great experience wherever you go, whatever you do. It doesn't have to be college. But where I was at in high school, that mindset, that 18-year-old version of myself, that's really what I was feeling, was like, I have to make this thing work, and I couldn't make it work. And I felt really terrible that it couldn't work. So if you're one of those people in that boat of, I'm a high school student and I want to go to Berkeley and I want to graduate there and everything, it's like, it hurts to get rejected from anywhere. But for me, it hurt a lot to get rejected from UC Berkeley because the expectation was that I was going to go there and for my family. And so I felt like I was letting my family down, specifically my dad. And so that's really how it kind of started. And so I went to junior college because I wanted to do the path where you transfer into UC Berkeley from a community college. And so I wasn't going to give up. Like it's one of those things again in life where it's like, what do you do when you fail? Are you someone who says, I'll just throw it out and go do something else? Or are you someone who's like, no, I'm going to keep on this thing and really try to make it work? And I've had my own thoughts about this too. It's like, at what point does that become insanity? Like, at what point are you crazy to kind of stay so fixated on this one thing that, you could have done all these other things, or could have done all these other paths in life and been happier, maybe, or had, enjoyed it more. And so it's just kind of like, I was still in that mindset of like, I have to make this thing work. I have to get into UC Berkeley. Like, I don't care how, I just have to get that offer letter of admission to Cal. Like, that's all that mattered to me. And so, there was just that fire under my ass, that pressure of like, don't be a disappointment. And that's really what it is for me personally at a deep level, is just don't be a disappointment. Like, that's why I was working so hard and worrying so much about my classes and trying to get an A plus or whatever, or an A. Like, everything about what I was doing when I was at junior college was just get an A, just get the perfect grade you can get, so that your GPA won't be the reason why the UC Berkeley admissions counselor doesn't tell you, sorry kid, you can't make it here. And so it's like, it's just all this stress about trying to get that right number on that transcript so that you can hopefully get that admission. And so it's like, a lot of it is just an enormous amount of stress and pressure to get into this college. And it's just a college. It's just a school. Like, you can go anywhere else. Like, I had other offer letters to other places. Like, even when I was in high school, like, I could have gone to other places, but I was so hell-bent on going to UC Berkeley for my dad and my family that I just didn't care. And I think it's sad in hindsight, because it's like, college is supposed to be the time in your life when you actually do get to venture out of your comfort zone and try somewhere new and go somewhere maybe unexpected and really get to learn and explore yourself and what other things might be out there. But for me, I was so fixated on Berkeley that it just put on blinders to everything else. And yeah, so I just, that's who I was at that time in my life. I probably sound like an old man, but it's just like, that's who I was and how I looked at the world. Was I had to get into UC Berkeley somehow. Just aim high, set your goals high, and just do whatever it takes to make it work. And I mean, I have standards, though. I wouldn't cheat. I hate cheating. And I haven't cheated, and I'm proud to say that I haven't. If I was going to fail a class, or if for whatever reason I wasn't good enough, then I wasn't good enough. And I would try to look at that as an opportunity to learn something new or take something positive away from that moment, but not, you know, I think that's another topic in and of itself of like, if you're going to do whatever it takes to get something, does that include cheating and, giving yourself unfair advantages? And so I am not going to cross that line. Like, and that's just who I was, and I hope that's what other people have too. But I will say, and this is something I've heard of UC Berkeley, is that it's really a subset of those kids that are working so hard and putting themselves under so much pressure to perform and get good results that you will get people who will cheat. And I saw it when I was in Berkeley. And so it's like, and what I learned as a medical student also is that there will still be people who cheat. In any subset of people, you will have people in that group who cheat. And it's unfortunate, but it's just a fact of reality of humans. That like, there's gonna be people who, if you give them the opportunity, they'll take that opportunity. And it's unfortunate, but all you can do is focus on yourself. And that's the reason why I kind of feel bad and sad about the person I was when I was applying to Berkeley as a kid in high school and as a junior college student, is that like I was just so focused on like on what other people wanted of me, like what my dad wanted of me, what my family wanted of me, and not what I really wanted. And I feel like it was a lost opportunity or a missed opportunity to really explore more. And so yeah, so it's just, so the way I ultimately got in was I had a 4.0 when I was in community college. I took all the prerequisites, and it was specific to UC Berkeley. So I managed to get out of my junior college in 2 years, and that was by putting myself under a lot of pressure and taking pretty heavy course loads, above average levels of courses, units per semester. And it was very, very specific for UC Berkeley, which again is unfortunate to me, because basically as a day one junior college student, because I wanted to go to UC Berkeley, you had to declare a major. And so again, missing the opportunity to really explore your options and see what else is out there. I said chemical engineering, and I said UC Berkeley. And, if I said UC Santa Barbara chemical engineering, it would have been a different set of requirements for me to have taken slightly. So it's like everything was based around this notion of I'm going to go to UC Berkeley. And so again, not the healthiest or best path I could have taken, but it's the path I took because that's the person I was at the time. And, in hindsight, I wish I could have just had more time in junior college to figure out what I wanted to actually do and where I actually wanted to go. But at the same time, you have to make a decision. And if you want to get out of junior college as quickly as possible and get that bachelor's degree as quickly as possible, then you have to just be decisive and shut up and kind of make a decision and live with that decision. And so that was my counter argument as the person I was at that time. And that's why I did what I did. Just say UC Berkeley, chemical engineering, and that's where I'm going. And you're really betting the ranch on it working out. And so I will say, to a degree, I got lucky in the sense that it wasn't just the hard work and the grades and the statement. It's also just luck. It's who reads your application when it comes in, that makes a huge impact on whether or not you actually get that admission offer. And so yeah, as a second year junior college student, I filled out my app for UC Berkeley. I submitted it, and I got that offer letter. And I might seem weird for saying this, but like I honestly didn't really feel much joy when that offer letter came in. And that's because I don't really think that UC Berkeley necessarily was something that I personally really cared about or wanted to do. It was just the expectation. And so it's like, you're meeting this expectation. Do you necessarily feel joy that you've met an expectation? Like I don't. It was just like, this is what my dad wants me to do, so this is what I'm doing. And so that's what I did. And again, kind of sad, kind of hollow, but that's how I got into UC Berkeley, and that's how I did the major that I did. And so, and for me, I don't say this really, but too often, but one of the worst days of my life was the day I graduated, because I did enjoy what I was doing, and I'm glad that I majored in what I did. But I felt deep in my heart that like I had just been doing what other people wanted me to do my entire life, and it really sucked. And I was really angry that I was just a puppet for my parents, my dad specifically, just doing what he always wanted me to do. And I felt like I was betraying myself, and I wasn't actually caring for myself and doing what I really wanted to do. And so that's my personal reflection on this all. And I asked people before I said yes to that offer letter at UC Berkeley, who went to UC Berkeley, like, would you do this again? People who weren't my dad, who were not my dad, and they said yes. And I trusted them, and I said, okay, we'll try this. And yeah, so and yeah, that's where I was at. And in hindsight, what I will say is UC Berkeley, like many other colleges, is a great institution to learn stuff and to really get immersed in a field and get experience working in a lab with people and doing research and all those things. Like, it's a great institution. Like any other institute, there's many other institutions out there. So it's not like, if I was telling someone who's really looking at UC Berkeley right now, I would keep telling them it's not just this one place. Like, there are other places you can go where you can probably have a fantastic experience and enjoy your life. It doesn't just have to be UC Berkeley. Like, I know it's easier said than done to really believe this, and I couldn't do it, but to acknowledge that it doesn't just have to be that one place that you want to go to. And so that's my belief on this. That's what I would advocate for. But yeah, and in hindsight, again, like and I can talk more about this later, but I just, was it worth it? Did it really help me that much? And I guess when people look at their schooling, they get fixated on like, oh, well, I'm doing this to get that career. Like, I really want to have this good career. That's the reason why I'm going to this really good school. And can I necessarily say that UC Berkeley prepared me for the career that I have right now? And the answer is like, it's not. It's like, the thing is that I think I did not understand when I was applying to Berkeley and when I was in Berkeley is that so much of your career has nothing to do with where you go to college or what you majored in. It's who you are and what you do. It's your experience that speaks for itself. And it's you speaking for yourself when you are in those interviews. People don't care about where you went to college once you're in that interview room. Like, maybe the HR people who do that kind of first round filter, who are snobs, would just say like, oh, well, you didn't go to this college or whatever. Or what, it's like, but once you're in that room with that hiring manager, they're not going to care. When I interview people, I don't care where they go to college. I don't care what they majored in. All I care about is asking the same set of questions I would ask anyone else. And I want to know how they would answer it. And I want to figure out if this is a person who I think would be a good fit on the team and whether or not they can contribute to the work that we're doing. It's very simple. And so in no way do I care, oh, you went to this college and you did this major and whatever. It's like, it's far less important than I think people feel like when you're in that moment, when you're that kid in high school or in junior college looking at a place like UC Berkeley thinking this is the make or break moment of my life. The answer is it isn't. And I think society has put way too fine a point on where you go to college. And I think it's sad. And I really hope that more people out there can begin to appreciate or understand that there's a heck of a lot more to who you are as a person and to who you are as a professional than your college degree. And so that is my main point here. And so I want to thank you all for watching, if you made it this far. And if you have any comments, let me know. And I hope everyone is doing well. And talk to you guys next time.